and Gio.
BT and Sal.
Kevin and Tiki.
Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
What's up, everybody? It's Pete Hoffman with WFAN Daily. Back again on this Sunday night or Monday morning, whenever you listen to the podcast. Go check it out at the Odyssey app. Download it there, or wherever you get your Odyssey app. Wherever you get your podcast, you go download it and find it there. Now, listen, it's a day after the Knicks have lost the whoa, look at that.
Kevin and Tiki.
Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
Did it again.
On the fan.
On the
Working out the kinks. Today, after the New York Knicks have been eliminated from the playoffs, and we still have a ton of feelings from it, and after thinking about it more, watching the disappointment, talking to friends, talking to people, talking about how they felt so let down, it's a little bit of a rehab from everything, because you look at the outlook of the season. Did you ever think the Knicks were going to get that far? Did you ever think the Knicks were going to win a finals this year? Did you ever think that they were going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals? And the reality is, a lot of people didn't think they were that good to get as far as they did. Now, is that a happy response to, losing Game 6 to the Pacers, getting kind of blown out at the end, in a path that was so perfect for them to make a finals and to make an appearance, and whether or not they would have got crushed by the Thunder didn't make a difference. Going to the finals would have been amazing for this New York Knicks team and the fan base, because you are so desperate. The day after, though, and now thinking about where this team is going to go to, right? That's what it comes down to, is now what it's all sunk in, season's over. Where do they go from here? And again, a lot of talk has been about Coach Tibbs. You listen to the post game where Brunson basically was like, you want me to say something bad about Tibbs? No, he's the guy. Yeah, of course. Like, we believe in him. But that's not his job, clearly. I mean, that's going to be above Dolan and everybody up top is going to make that decision on whether or not Tibbs is the coach. But this team has rallied around Tibbs, has rallied around the fact that he does play them a lot of minutes, but trusts them to play those minutes. Do you want to move forward in a different direction? Do you want to not start over? But the reality is, this Knicks team with Brunson, Cat, OG, Hart, Bridges, they just did not gel perfectly together. It took them a while, and they still haven't been perfect. So let's see what they can do with another year under the belt, maybe? Shouldn't that be the goal? They're good. Now let's work a little harder. Why do you want to move forward? Why do you want to move in a different direction? Why do you want to get rid of the coach? Why do you want to get rid of these players who were so good? Maybe not together. Maybe it wasn't the perfect fit, but maybe they can fit together. Maybe there's something there. Now, you look at the payroll. Here's what it comes down to. The biggest thing is, right? We could talk about what's the biggest thing for the New York Knicks. It was their bench. We need a deeper bench, and a deeper bench that Coach Thibodeau can actually trust, because that's what, at the end of the day, it's going to look at. We're going to look at a bench where, if he's not going to his 8th, 9th, 10th guy on the bench, that's because he doesn't believe that they can hang with the big boys. And in big-time spots, big-time situations, you kind of need guys you can rely upon. You can't rely on Landry Shamet in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals when you really haven't relied on him all season long. It's just it's a stupid approach to go do that. So the big thing is, where are they getting their finances from? You want to talk about it. Bobby Marks did a great job of breaking this down. If you go to social media with ESPN, he did a fantastic job of breaking down the finances of the New York Knicks and basically showing how they don't have a ton of money to spend unless you get rid of certain pieces. Cat's going to be a piece that everyone's going to say that you have to get rid of because he's making the most money. I mean, he's making $50+ million next year. It's a lot of money to be dealing with when you have limited cap space, when you don't have a lot of flexibility. But are you really going to say, hey, let's try to get Giannis? Let's find a way to get rid of Cat, bring in Giannis, for example, and see if that piece fits. Because what if it doesn't? Then what? It's just another year you're wasting away of Jalen Brunson and whether or not it's OG and Bridges on this team. I mean, again, there's a lot of things. There's the Bridges extension, which is interesting because a lot of people, again, Mikal Bridges, was he worth the draft picks? Was he worth trading away all those draft picks for Mikal Bridges? Well, if you don't sign him, if you don't rework his contract, was it worth it? Because at the end of the day, maybe you get flexibility with finances, but on the other hand, are you going to get a player as good as Mikal Bridges? A guy that fits in my opinion, fit pretty well. Defensively, he's a stud, and if on moments where Jalen Brunson is not playing on the floor, Mikal Bridges is a guy who can take over a game. We've seen that again. There's so many guys on this team. The only guy that I don't trust to really take over a game completely is Josh Hart. But he's not that piece that you're looking for. You can't there's no big piece that's going to come in that you can add unless you subtract some other major pieces. That's really what it comes down to. You're going to have to figure out and be creative with the bench, be creative with how you're going to add to this roster. Again, there's certain guys that are like PJ Tucker is probably not going to come back, and there's other pieces that they're going to let go of. Bench players, which didn't really see a lot of light day anyway. So that's where they're going to have to be creative. But can you be creative? Are you going to get guys that are going to take the minimum to come to this Knicks squad, that believe in this Knicks squad? Think about this. Think about when the Miami Heat were at their height, right? Think about the team like the Lakers when they were cashing in championships. You used to get guys, say a Ray Allen, for example, who went to the Heat, who would come and say, you know what, I'll play for less money to play for a team that I believe is going to win a championship because I want to win a championship, and I think this is the roster. You need to convince players with a ton of talent who are willing to take a pay cut, a minimum pay cut to play for the Knicks. That's what it comes down to. If they believe that they are championship bound. Now, I don't know if the entire league is convinced that the Knicks are championship bound. That's the problem. Knicks fans are. Knicks fans want it, but what level of player is going to say, I'll take a bare minimum to go play on this Knicks roster? Let's put it this way. If DiVincenzo had a chance to be a free agent and had a chance to come to the Knicks, would he take a huge pay cut to come play for the Knicks? I don't think so. And that's the reality of the situation. You're not going to get the studs on the bench that you want, or the type of role players that you want, because I think they're going to want too much money. So the cap flexibility for this Knicks team going into this offseason, you're going to have to be creative. I just don't know where it's going to come from. Do you trade Cat? Do you free up some money that way? I prefer not to do that because I still think there's untapped potential with Karl-Anthony Towns. I like this starting five. I like this squad. I think that you could find – I want to try to find ways to add to it. I just don't know where it is. But that means you're bringing back the same squad. And if it's my way, you're running everything back the same way except for a couple of new pieces on the bench that are not very sexy. Does that work? Can that work? This was a healthy Knicks team in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they flat out choked in game one of this series, which basically changed the aftermath of the series. So that's what it comes down to. Again, I think I will continue to say, talent-wise, have the most talent at a starting five in the NBA spread around. You need to be able to gel. You need to have a really good offseason as far as working together as a team. Hopefully the chemistry is there. You know, you hear some rumblings that maybe some people were a little bit upset with how Cat was playing, how Cat wasn't showing up every game. But then there's days where he just takes over. You know, it's not a Ben Simmons type. I'll tell you that much. It's not a Ben Simmons situation where the guy doesn't show up at all. Guy shows up and can take over a game. I want that on my team. Now, let's move on because there's other things that happened this weekend. Like the New York Yankees went to L.A. to try to even the score from the World Series. And let's say it didn't happen, okay? That wasn't a very impressive outing in a 3-game series in L.A. for the New York Yankees. I'm not telling you that that's it. It's this season's over. It's a wrap. The L.A. Dodgers are the World Series champions again. But let's be honest with you. Alex Rodriguez said it. I hate to agree with anything that Alex Rodriguez ever says, but baseball runs through the Dodgers right now. They are the best team in baseball. End of story. I don't care if the Mets beat them in a series earlier in the season. You know, they won 2 out of 3. I don't care what the Yankees do again against them. This Dodgers team is so stacked, so loaded. They don't have 90% of their pitching staff healthy, and yet they demolished the Yankees. They just demolished them. You know, it was besides Aaron Judge, they really had no answer to what the Dodgers offense put out. And again, the Dodgers aren't even healthy. Mookie Betts barely played this year. I think he played Sunday night, but he wasn't there on Friday and Saturday when they dismantled Max Fried, when Will Warren, which, you know, by the way, he was coming off of some really great starts, came back to earth. That sucked. But the Dodgers are just in a different level. And to A-Rod's point, he was saying too, it's where it's like the American League is weak. I'm not even telling you that. I don't care about the American League is weak. All it takes is to get to the World Series. That's all it is. But the Yankees are going to have to fix some things because they cannot handle that series again going up against the Dodgers, who, again, were not 100%. Wait to face Blake Snell. Wait to face, Shohei may be available to pitch. That's a whole different element. You know, who knows? Sasaki wasn't available. It was just Yamamoto. You know, there's a whole pitching staff that you did not see. So just get ready for that. Aaron Judge is still one of the best in baseball. Shohei Ohtani showed him a little bit of something too. It was good to see Sunday, the bounce back. Yarbrough, listen, you talk about somebody who's been a solid piece to this rotation. You never thought that Yarbrough was going to be a guy that was going to give you really good innings consistently. You thought, hey, he's an opener. Maybe he gives you 3-4 innings deep here and there. Guy's been one of the better pitchers on this team right now, and that's just it goes to show that year to year, some of these pitchers are having phenomenal years. Is it a different situation? Is it how do they approach, Matt Blake? Is he approaching something different with Yarbrough that's giving him a little bit more life on his pitches, that's allowing him to go deeper in the games? Whatever, it's working. It's fine. And Max Fried picked a bad time to have a bad weekend. Let's be serious here. Max Fried, who's been the Cy Young in baseball this year, had the worst game of his season with the with the Yankees on Friday, as he just got shelled in that later in the game, which I think he gave up 6 runs. It was a disgusting performance by him. Worst of the season. It happens. He's not going to be perfect, but it was a bad time to be bad. Let's put it that way. It's a really bad time to be bad. Overall, you move on. You find a way to get better. The Yankees will get better. There's some bright spots still. Obviously, Ben Rice is still, has his power stroke. You got Paul Goldschmidt, who's still crushing it, killing it for average. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. And DJ LeMay, who showed a little life too, which was really positive because you need to see something from DJ LeMahieu. Otherwise, he's just a waste of a roster spot. And you got Jazz Chisholm soon, who's going to come back, which is then going to add a little complication. How are you displaying the offense? Is DJ going to get more time? Is Jazz going to third? It sounds like Jazz Chisholm is going to play third base, which is nice, so that you have DJ play second. You have a solid infield. and hopefully more offense, which is much, much needed when you're playing against an LA Dodgers team. And then we get to the New York Mets, who go, play a terrible Colorado Rockies team, which the Rockies are so bad. They've got 9 wins on the season. They're 9-50, and they are a train wreck. I don't know how our franchise gets that bad. We've known about the pitching in Colorado, how disgusting it is, but they weren't playing in Colorado. I don't understand how they are just that downright awful. They have some good relief pitchers, but for the most part, it was just a crap show from the Rockies. And I'm going to take this for what it is. I know Juan Soto hasn't been killing the ball at all, but he hit a couple home runs. He went 4 for 9. He had a really excellent series. I know that it's not the be-all, end-all. It's the Colorado Rockies, but it's a good start. If this could be the jump start to Juan Soto's season, I'll take it. That doesn't have to be much. 4 for 9, a couple walks hit in there too. So a couple solo home runs, a good double. I'll take anything right now from Juan Soto, and I'm happy to see other people. Francisco Lindor had a fantastic series. He was 6 for 11. He crushed it. If you go to listen to the Rico Bronya podcast that I just did with Evan Roberts, he was the I'm the man right now star of the series, because he really was offensively phenomenal. 3 home runs in the series. Defensive plays were fantastic as always. And you talk about how he just – this is the most amazing thing I've seen. He's tied – I think it was a Jeter for the most home runs ever as a shortstop. He is, I believe, 6th or 7th on the list, something like that. At the end of the day, Francisco Lindor is going to pass the leader in home runs as a shortstop. He's 94 behind for most home runs as a shortstop. He's going to blow past that number. He's going to hit 400 home runs in his career as a shortstop. It's just going to happen. He's got 260 right now. He's going to play another 7.5 years here with the New York Mets. There's no doubt he's not going to hit. He's going to hit 20 to 30 home runs the next couple seasons. He's going to do it in his sleep. He's going to go down as one of the best shortstops of all time, and no doubt Hall of Famer. So remember that time when we were sitting there scratching our head and saying, oh, this is a mistake. The years are terrible. This is going to be a bad contract. How are we going to live with Francisco Lindor? Thumbs down, raccoon, all that stuff. It's going to turn out to be the best trade ever in New York Mets history. It's going to. And on top of that, if this keeps up, for the first time this season, I think it was that Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, and Juan Soto hit home runs in the same day. If they keep Pete Alonso around, there's going to be a lot of home runs from those 3 guys, and eventually this team, if they keep on building with this young talent they have coming up, eventually, hopefully, Ronnie Mauricio finds his way. Hopefully, this pitching that they continue to build with this pitching lab and these young prospects that hopefully we start to see from the pitching lab. Let's go. I mean, it's about time. We haven't seen a lot of prospects in the past 2 years. We've seen 1 or 2. I'd like to see some of these guys that we're hearing come up through the rankings and actually perform at an elite level. Let's go see that. Right now, we got Kodai Senga. We'll be able to change around Griffin Canning. I need to see something from these younger guys. But if that's the case, hopefully World Series is not a dream. It's in the future. Maybe in a couple of years, who knows? Because the Dodgers are still elite, but it's getting closer. So, listen, Knicks, it's going to be what it's going to be right now. We're going to have to wait for this NBA Finals to finish, start for the have the new year start for the league, and go from there. Yankees, They salvaged the series with the Dodgers by winning Sunday, but it was a pathetic performance on Friday and Saturday. And the Mets did their job beating the lowly Rockies. I'm not going to sit there and pop champagne for that. I'm just going to say they did what they had to do. That being said, thank you very much for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily. I'll be back with more tomorrow. As listen, there's a lot of sports still to go. We got Yankees, Mets, baseball every day. There's always something to talk about. Football training camps are starting to pick up, a little bit. There's going to be some news there. We got a lot to get into every single day here on WFAN Daily with Pete Hoffman. Thank you again for listening and checking it out. I'll see you guys tomorrow.